we're over halfway through the year and I have read 37 books, which is 49% of my reading goal so far. So I thought I would do a top 10 of my favourite books for this year. So a lot of my books that I've read this year have been series. So I will be mentioning some books from series, but if it is more than a trilogy, I will only talk about a specific book, but if it's less, then I might talk about more than one. Starting off, we have got honourable mentions. So let's have a little look. Starting with Kingdom of Ash. This is one of a 8-part series, and I had read the other 7 quite early on at the end of the last year, actually. And then I had a bit of a break because I got really burnt out when I was reading this. I had to have a bit of a pause just to sort of regather myself and get back into this. I didn't want to rush into it, but I still felt like I did. I felt like I read it because people wanted me to read it, and yes, I did want to finish the series, but I still feel like it didn't have as big of an impact as I thought it would. I feel like a lot of hype was for this book, and I did enjoy it, but I kind of expected a lot more from it as well because I'd hyped it up so much in my head. So it's placed as an honourable mention. It would have been in my top 10 if I'd probably taken a step back, waited until I was ready to read it and do it that way, but because of the fact that I don't think I was fully into it because of the burnout, then yeah, that's kind of where it's sitting with me. An honourable mention, but I had to mention it because it's a great series and an amazing book. The next honourable read is Onyx Storm. This one I was really looking forward to. It was a anticipated read of mine, actually, and when I first read it, I did give it a 5 stars. Now looking at it, what was I thinking? What was I doing? I don't know. I would probably give it about a 3 now looking at it. I feel like the online hype and the fact that it was so anticipated, and I was just so involved in the series that yeah, I think I rated it the 5, but now I definitely think I've read things that I've preferred, and I did prefer Fourth Wing, so Fourth Wing gets a 5 from me, but this one I'm going to put down to a 3. I knew it was going to be a filler book. I kind of had the rose tinted glasses on, but it was still good, don't get me wrong. I just think the issue was that it was a bit slow, and that's just why it's an honourable mention for me today. My final honourable book is Sunbringer. This was a fun read for me. I think that I really like the character development in this book. I specifically love when a book has a companion and you've got that sort of element there to a bond with another character. And I just think it works so well. You really do feel it as well when something happens, either good or bad, to either character. I think that's something I've realised and took away from this series is that. I will say there's a lot of information with this book. That is one thing. You've got to be prepared to read it because there's so much going on. But I did love learning about the gods and more about what they can do and their powers as well, being able to see them. It's a world full of gods, so it's really, really interesting, really fun to get into. And this book was actually a lot faster paced than the first, so definitely one for you guys to look into if you're wanting to get into a fantasy. Finally getting into the top 10. For number 10, we've got Caught Up. So this is part of the Windy City series, and I actually read this one on my holiday in Gran Canaria. I read most of the series bar the newest one, haven't read that yet, and I was reading them back to back. I was hooked. I was definitely really invested. I don't read a lot of romance, but when I do get sucked into them. I always end up going for the grumpy single dad types that are always just so grumpy because they've been hurt in the past and they've got the cutest kids and they've just got a heart of gold, really. I always fall for those ones those characters in the books. So yes, I've definitely found that out while reading romance. So I loved Milla and Kai. I think their whole story was just so sweet. And then little Max too was the cutest little boy. He's in the book. Milla comes to nanny him, and there is definitely more to it that I don't want to spoil for anyone that wants to read it, but she comes to nanny him, and obviously things take a turn and stuff happens. I definitely do recommend the Windy City series. So the 9th book that I've chosen is Watch Me. So this is actually a spin-off sequel to the Shatter Me series. I read the Shatter Me series as a readathon with Electric Monkey and really did enjoy it. I think that series for me is one that I really loved the world. I loved sort of getting into it, loved the characters, but I feel like I didn't have a specific favourite book. I think they were all really good and impactful, but I just feel like I didn't have a set one that kind of shouted out to me, if that makes sense. So when I got to read Watch Me, I think it really did sort of change my perspective a little bit. I was like, I actually really enjoyed this. It follows James, who is a character in the Shatter Me series. And I just loved seeing his growth, his development. So he's a bit older in this book as well. So in Shatter Me, he's a lot younger. We don't get to see too much of him. Whereas this is like fully set on him and sort of like where his mindset is. He's in his like 20s now, so like it was just really fun and just a bit of like fresh air, really. So the Shatter Me series as a whole, I look back at it and it actually reminded me a lot of like X-Men and Divergent with the whole training facilities and the way it was sort of laid out. It was just really fun and I could really visualize everything that was happening, and there's so many plot twists. But then again, this also had so many plot twists too, so I'm very excited to see where this series goes further down the line. My next book, which is number 8, is Light Out. This one is actually my one and only dark romance on my list. It's a lot more light-hearted. There was a lot of comic relief in it as well. And I just feel like with a lot of other dark romances I've read, they push the boundaries a lot and they do seem to like test it a bit more. And sometimes it can be a bit uncomfortable. Whereas this, it had that other sort of side to it. And it felt like it wasn't that much of a dark romance, even though it was, but it still did feel like a dark romance. It's hard to explain. It's very good, but I do want to mention there's also really memorable moments in this book, and that is the mask and the Batman voice. If you read it, you'll know what I'm talking about. The reason it's so light-hearted is why it's really pushed it into my list as well, because I definitely think it's worth the read because it's just funny. And the memorable moments. So book number 7 is Reckless, part of the Chestnut Springs series. Now, the Chestnut Springs series is one that I loved. I binged that series really quickly. And Reckless was my all-time favourite. It made me cry as well, so let's get into it. I'm also repping my cowboy top, so I knew it was coming. So, the Chestnut Springs series follows a family called the Eaton family and their ranch, basically, and their close friends. And Reckless was my favourite, so this follows Theo and Winter. Winter's character is one that kind of really I really felt for her character. She's very much portrayed in a bad light in one of the other books, and kind of like one of those like lights where you dislike her. You're not going to like her very much. But she's actually gone through a lot, and I do feel for her, and this story is honestly the most wholesome story I have read. You need to go read it if you haven't. I'm not a big crier, but I had tears running down my cheeks. I honestly have no words. This is incredible. Incredible story. So heartwarming and wholesome. So this is high-ish on my list. If you haven't read it, go get it. Book 6. This is The Night and the Moth by Rachel Gillig. This is her newest book, and I have really enjoyed some of her other work, so I was very excited about this one. So I found that the magic system really interesting and unique. It's to do with divination. If you don't know what that's about, divination is to do with prophecies and dreams, and it's just really fun and sort of interesting to learn. The book does have romance in it, but it's more of a subplot. It kind of follows more to do with the characters and the journey they're going on, which again I found really interesting. It's high on my list because I did enjoy it, and I would definitely read it again. I'm very tempted to get the Fairy Loot edition. I wish I could tell you more, but I know it's such a new book that I don't want to spoil it, as I know a lot of people will probably want to read it. So that's all I'm going to say for now. Book number 5 is Metal Slinger. This is a book by an indie author, actually, and I had a great time reading this. This was for my book club pick, and I can say it follows a classic female main character that leaves the home that she's known and ventures out and finds out a lot more to her and to other situations as well. She finds out a lot that she has been in the dark about. So this one was fun to read. It very much had like a bit of a journey in there. There is an elemental magic system and one of the craziest plot twists I could even imagine ever. So if you've not read it, definitely do. Book number 4 is Quicksilver by Callie Hart. This one was really difficult to decide whether it was going to be 3 or 4. So yeah, it was tough, but I chose 4. So this one was really fun to read. We've got a main character who is hiding powers that she has from the world she's in, and she secretly opens up the portal to the Fey realm, and it just goes from there. It's crazy. I love it. This one has got a lot of love to it. A lot of people like this series, and I do too. So that's a good thing. If you've not read it, definitely get into this. It's a romantasy. We've got slow burns. We've got Fey warriors. Everything you kind of want in a fantasy book. This one's the only one that's been released so far, but I'm hoping Brimstone lives up to the same sort of level as this one did. Book 3 is Legendary. This is part of the Caraval series. This is stunning. Think the most extravagant, crazy, insane circus you could ever imagine and add magic. Insane. Insane. I really enjoyed this series. Now, I've got Legendary in my hand, but I actually couldn't pick a favourite, so I've just gone with this one. I also read the Once Upon a Broken Heart series by the same author, by Stephanie Garber. I know a lot of people read that one second, but I read that first. But, you know, I don't think it makes that much of a difference. There's a bit of crossover, but it's fine. It's fine. You get it. You understand. But Caraval, I love the world. I think it's so vivid, so bright. I can clearly visualise everything that I'm reading. I just think it was fun, and if I could live in a world, it would be Caraval. It just changes every time. Book 2. Mistborn. I have recently just finished this book, and I recommend it with my soul, my heart, everything. It's so good. Epic fantasy is where it's at for everyone. I was not expecting to feel so many emotions with this series. I honestly have been heartbroken. I have cried my eyes out. The character development in this is insane as well. The characters I love. I'm just tearing up thinking about some of them actually right now. Magic system, allomancy, insane, insane. Metals, being able to use them for power. I love it. I think it's so clever and the writing's easy to follow. I know it looks like a big book, but it's honestly worth it. It's second for me because I haven't finished the series yet. I'm on the second one. I don't want to put it first just yet because I want to see if any of the others will actually top it. But once I've read them all, I'm sure that one of them is going to be at least in my top 3 in there. So yeah, Mistborn is definitely high on the list for me. I have actually just done a YouTube video talking about it too, so do check it out. Book 1 is One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig. This is part of the Shepherd King duology. Controversially, actually book 1 is my favourite. I know a lot of people love book 2, and you know, I do love it. I love it. I loved everything I read. It's interesting, but book 1 is where it's at for me. I think being introduced to characters, learning about them, is just something I actually really enjoy about a book, and I just had to put it first. I did. Love the magic system in this. It's so unique. Also, the nightmare. The nightmare. Need I say more? Need I say more? I don't think so. A dark, gothic, eerie fantasy is definitely one that I've really enjoyed reading. I think I need to read more of them, to be honest, because this was a fun read. I think with the whole cards and the magic system, I liked learning about them, their different powers that they had. It's one that I don't want to spoil for you guys, so I'll let you guys read it. But it's really, really, really good. And the character development is great as well, especially in book 2. I will say book 2 is good for that. A lot of the characters have a lot of growth. So yes, book 2 is good for that part. But book 1, I just loved being introduced to the nightmare and to Elspeth and sort of understanding the journey she needs to take. Yeah, I think it was really, really good. And it's one that I will forever recommend to anyone and everyone. So this is my top 10 and my honourables. I have actually done quite well, I think. I think looking into all of my sort of books that I've read a lot of series and I've ended up binge reading them. I think what I need to do is kind of break it up a little bit, read other things. I definitely want to set a target of reading a thriller. I love thriller. I really want to get into them a bit more. I just haven't gone to pick one up. So I think getting back into a thriller would be definitely on my list to do. But I think we've done really well here, actually. If anyone's read any of these, give me your thoughts. Tell me, what did you like? What did you not like? But I definitely am looking forward to kind of seeing as well down the future line, sort of how much my preference has changed and like where they would be placed and stuff. I think that would be quite interesting further down the line. But I think I've done really well. I'm going to keep trying with my target of 75 books on my Goodreads this year. Currently at 37, not too bad. I need to get a move on, but I'm reading a lot of big books at the moment. I'm very, very happy with this. So I will see you guys in the next video. If you have liked watching my video, some videos will pop up on screen. So please do check them out. Thank you guys for watching. Bye.